I'm suffering from the world's worst allergies today, so bear with me. And before we hop into this, if you enjoy what we talk about here, if you enjoy this video, please consider checking out other stuff we do as well. We have a wide variety of videos on this channel. We have a really fun secondary channel, Degenerate Plays, where we hang out and play games with you guys. And we actually have a lot of social media stuff as well, including a Discord server and all that fun stuff in the description down below. Now, the reason I'm talking about this is because YouTube is my home in a lot of ways. That sounds silly, but it's where I spend a lot of my time. Despite what it might look like to some of you, I spend between 50 to 70 hours a week doing work for YouTube in terms of recording, editing, actually managing my social stuff that I need to do for work, reaching out to sponsors, talking to people that I need to for work, citing sources, researching stuff for projects, things like that. I spend a lot of time on this website, and I also spend entertainment time on it. You know, sometimes during that time when I'm researching something, I'll listen to another channel, or sometimes my wife and I will watch a scary video on YouTube, things like that. We enjoy this website immensely. And I would not have met my wonderful audience without this site. Made a lot of friends. And it's sad to see this site going in a direction that I fundamentally disagree with for a lot of reasons. This all stems to, I guess, back to the dislike feature and its removal. But it's a lot deeper than that. You know, a handful of years ago, we started seeing more and more of these companies pop up on YouTube. Obviously, prior to the whole Viacom lawsuit and prior to the sale to Google and all of that, like we're talking way back, YouTube was a much more indie thing. It was just little things like skits and sketches and people making video game reviews like the Angry Video Game Nerd over on Cinemassacre, James Rolfe, people like that. You know, it was more of a niche thing. But as it got bigger and bigger, we started seeing companies jump on it because, of course, they were chasing that sweet dollar. And there were a lot of reasons for that. I don't blame them. You know, I think a lot of people got into YouTube, myself included, wanted to be able to make a living of some kind off of that. I think most decent people didn't actually seek fame and fortune in some way, but I think a lot of people wanted to make this a platform they could enjoy, make fun content on for people to laugh at and have a fun time and think critically and just feel like they have a voice. That was the point of this site before, was that everyone has a voice. YouTube. It's basically your tube, like your television, right? Over time, I've noticed that individuals have had less and less of a voice. And there are some times when I understand that decision. I mean, in terms of things like, maybe getting rid of the extreme content where it's like religious terrorists cutting somebody's head off and posting it on the site. Yeah, I think getting rid of that's probably a good move. But in terms of just somebody having an opinion, I don't think it's ever really been a good move. And that's what removing the dislikes has done. I've noticed this as a creator more and more where a lot of comments get kind of jammed as well into the spam filter. They get pushed into spam. If there's something that the YouTube algorithm doesn't like, maybe you actually include a timestamp to show somebody where something is or say, haha, that's funny. And instead the YouTube algorithm thinks you're leaving a weird code to talk to people and kidnap kids. You know, there's a lot of stuff like that. Or even people misspell something and the algorithm thinks, oh, this person's cussing out the content creator. Let's just hide that. They don't ask. You know, they don't ask us in terms of hiding that stuff. It just happens. Even if you have it on the most lenient of filters, it happens. And then the content creator doesn't have a reason to dig through those. Like, so for me, right? The most vile, insane comments that I do get are also in that folder, okay? So you're asking me, in order to preserve people's free speech or whatever you want to call it, I know it's not the American government, but I still view it that way, as people should have a voice. You're asking me to dig through comments of people calling me like the N-word and saying like I'm fat and should kill myself and stuff like that with people who are just legitimately trying to have a conversation. Personally, I don't really want to be exposed to the one. I understand if I have to be, but, you don't, as a creator, you don't have an incentive to go out of your way to dig out and find those comments, right? You don't have a reason to dig out constructive criticism or even commentary on your own work that will further conversation if it's pushed down into what would actually be considered as some kind of hate speech or something like that. You just don't. And dislikes have gone the same way. You can still see them. I can still look at them. When you leave a dislike on my channel, I still see it. In fact, one of the reasons it bums me out that they're gone is because it helped me. People can still leave dislikes. What a lot of people never knew about this, and there were tests over the years done about this to varying degrees of success, is that the dislike function actually pushed videos in the algorithm by increasing content viewer engagement. The idea is this: if Max is uploading a video and they get 10 likes and 2 dislikes, that is an 80% like rate. It tells YouTube this video is probably good. And also there were 12 interactions on here, not just 10. Those 12 interactions will then be used in the search engine optimization to actually push that video above something that has fewer or no interactions. Dislikes are good for creators, actually. Yes, if you get completely brigaded, like you made a valid point, you have 100 fans, but some asshole who has nothing going on in their life but has 2,000 more subs than you sends their fan base to like shit all over you, yes, then you're going to get brigaded and that's going to bury your video. And that does happen, and that sucks. The problem is all that's been done is dislikes have been hidden. You can actually still see that they still work. If you leave a dislike, it does still count. YouTube still knows how many dislikes there are. I can still see them. I can go into my content studio and see the percentage of likes to dislikes. This is something that has never bothered me. So when YouTube is telling me specifically that they're getting rid of this to preserve my mental health, but I can still see it, I don't exactly know how they are preserving much anything for me. What they are preserving is the ego of massive corporations, and that's why this comes around full circle. Well, people like you and me, smaller people, and you might say, Jay, you have 96,000 subs, how are you small? Sure, but my channel's relatively small. I'm not PewDiePie, I'm not Markiplier, I'm not NBC or Dateline or any of these big companies who also have a presence on here and have kind of weaseled their way in here. A lot of these different news organizations and entertainment organizations who, instead of using the site to promote their stuff, have pretty much just gone to making a ton of their money off of YouTube while also criticizing it and causing things like the adpocalypse, right? Those people's voices have been getting bigger. You might notice that those videos are recommended to you more often. They're seen as more brand safe to YouTube, and they're always pushed. And who happens to usually get the most dislikes? Other than maybe somebody who is outed as like being a ped, or who is caught up in a scandal of like, hey, this person stole money from their subscribers, or this person tried to get kids into gambling and stuff like that. Other than those horrible people, the people who tend to get the most dislikes are these big companies. There are things like Seth Rogen putting out the Santa Inc. trailer in terms of, that horrible looking show he's starring in that got absolutely reviewed, just trashed and destroyed with dislikes. And you can still see it if you install certain extensions in your web browser, which I recommend you look into because I think you have a right to know. Those are the people that they're protecting with these decisions. The people who have something to gain monetarily, who generally seem to fit into the same political camp as the people calling the shots. Whether you fit there or not is not the point. I would say the same thing about, if Parler was as big as YouTube, I kind of bet that the opposite end would be being hidden or suppressed more. Maybe that's not true, but that's kind of what I think. I think that what happens is you tend to have these people in control of these websites, and it's really convenient how whoever they seem to agree with tends to get the most traction on said website. Whoever they want to get the spotlight gets it. I noticed recently that the new Twitter CEO, he had said a statement about how after taking over Twitter that one of their big goals was not to take away people's voice, but to change the conversation and direct people's attention in different places. That's what I think this is all about. This is about directing your attention away from the failures of mainstream media, away from the problems of these old dying fossil companies, these ones who can't produce anything worth watching anymore. I'm not talking, AMC or Showtime or whatever, where they're out here actually making some quality TV still in the year 2021, which props to you. You can provide movie level content on your platform. That's awesome. I'm not talking about people like that, where you still get a good season of Dexter, or you'll get a season of Walking Dead, or a limited series revival of something good. I'm talking about the news media, how everybody clowns on them. I'm talking about games journalism, how everybody clowns on them. It happens to be the people who believe certain things and just cannot stop talking about them, who are always pushed, never suppressed, and always have a voice. Meanwhile, the rest of us have less and less of one. I think it's depressing and sad. I've even noticed in my own content that in the last year, I've probably in the last year grown 30 or 40,000 subscribers, and I get less views than I used to. Why do you think that is? And you can say, well, Jay, it's because your content's bad now. Maybe you think that. Maybe you do. And you know what? Maybe you have a reason to think that, and that's valid. I don't agree with you. I think it's better than it ever was. But maybe you have a point. But at the same time, is that really the case then, if the channel is still growing? If it's still gaining 30, 40,000 subscribers, but getting half the views? To me, I can see that anecdotally through my own channel, but I can also see it through pretty much every other one. There have been tons of YouTubers coming out and talking about this, talking about how their videos just aren't seen by their subs anymore. How I can put out a video, people have notifications on, and they don't see it. Then I can put out an actual community post about that video the next day, and people don't see that either. But they're subscribed, and they have the bell on. Why do you think that is? Do you really think it's because all the content you can't see is bad? Or do you think it's because they want you looking at something else? Do you think it's because they don't want you thinking about those things? And do you think it's because it benefits everyone if you just consume and enjoy versus critique or criticize or want things to be better? There's a place for enjoyment. There's a place for not asking questions. You want to sit down and watch Transformers and turn your brain off? You have a fun time. But I don't think everyone wants to do that all the time. And I think that it's really ridiculous to leave the button there, to leave this illusion that you have choice, that you have a say, a voice. You can say, I don't like this, or leave the illusion that you can voice displeasure at something, or leave the illusion that you can start up a YouTube channel and make it big, and you can have a voice and be huge when you have all these massive conglomerate companies swarming in like vultures to eat up the scraps and make sure you never make something of yourself. That's the way that it feels like this website is going to me, and it's really sad. I don't want to quit making the stuff I make. I truly believe the content I make makes people's lives better from the stuff that people have told me, not from a place of narcissism. When I make fun top 5 lists, people have fun, the people who watch them. When I make Let's Play videos, yeah, they're not going to top 1,000 views. Those 1,000 people, though, tell me they mean something to their lives. When I make friends online, people I can talk to, people who make my day a little better, that's something that these massive companies can't take away from me, especially now that I'm in a position where I have almost 100,000 of you who at least have the ability to check the channel and know I exist. But I feel so bad for people who this is all they've got, Like, this is their outlet. This is their chance to have a voice, to finally be somebody. And instead of being able to do that, they can't make it. They have no say. They're just completely buried forever. And even if they want to enjoy it as a viewer and just share an opinion, it doesn't matter, because no one will see it. I'm tired of that. I'm tired of the way this has gone, and I think it's only going to change if people just keep lambasting these decisions. No, we should not send, death threats or hate or rapping allegations or, you probably know what I mean, to the people who make these decisions. But I do think it's important to make it known that we disagree with the way these things are being run, because that's pretty much all we can do. I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm not trying to be a big downer. It's a little longer than I thought it would be. was aiming for 10, I hit 15 minutes, but I'm interested to hear what you think down below. Even if you think I don't, I do read them. So, I care. Have a fantastic day, and as always, everyone, stay shui.